Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of our NASCAR Heat 5 Volume 2 Career Mode here on the channel. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we go racing at my home track here in Canada, over in the Toronto area, so very close to home for me here with this MoSport track, or Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. It is now called as we're ready to get this thing underway for the second road course of the season as well. First road course of the season was at Mid-Ohio, and that was also home to our first top 10 in our Cup Series career. We haven't gotten a lot of top 10s this season. I mean, obviously, for a start car, it's a little bit tough to get really consistent finishes, but we've been good enough to be in the playoffs so far, and we're hoping to continue that trend. But my expectations here for my home race in Canada was to get a top 10 at the minimum here today, and that starts, of course, with getting yourself a good qualifying effort, as we would get this qualifying session underway for just one lap. But unfortunately, this was probably the worst handling car I have had all season long so far. It was, honestly, it felt like it was demonic here. This car was so bad to drive, and somehow, as you can see, I'm struggling so hard through the penultimate corner going down into this final corner, but somehow we still put up a relatively decent lap here for considering how the car was driving. I thought I was going to be about 30th place, but we go with a 1:19.645 and actually qualify P18 here, so that was a way better qualifying effort than I anticipated, and I was immediately looking into making adjustments to the preset setup that I chose because it was just too loose in some of these corners. It was slipping and sliding around, and you see Kyle Larson, Joey Logano will make up the front row as you see the rest of the remainder of that grid, I should say. Now, as you can see, Chase Briscoe there, one of the Rookie of the Year contenders that we're going against there in 23rd position. Bubba Wallace all the way down in 31st, and all the way at the back, it would be Cody Ware. I apologize if you can maybe hear my fan in the background. I hope you can't. I've got some filters on, so hopefully you shouldn't be able to, but it's so hot in here that I need this fan on to save my life here. Now, as you can see, your pole winner of Kyle Larson now, as we are ready to take the green flag with this Flow Racing Machine, another new livery on the car made by my friend of RJ, also known as Snakebite. As we're going to be underway here from Canada at MoSport, down towards turn 1, we head side by side with that 96 of Ty Dillon, and already actually I overshoot a little bit into turn 1, left the door open for James Davison there to slip up the right hand side there. Rick Ware Racing's James Davison having already a strong qualifying effort to start this race, and actually is going to get the better opportunity to complete the pass. I mean, right there into the next corner of turn 2, and he sure enough is in front of us, but now I'm going to try and lunge back up the inside of him. Here comes Briscoe to my rear bumper here as we come through the next right-hander. Now, as we get up to this, my favorite, honestly, probably my favorite section of racetrack on the whole schedule here. This is such a unique and technical section of road course right here. You got this downhill elevation, then it goes uphill, and you got to be on the brakes really hard here going into this next right-hander down into first gear. We get taken 3 wide actually by Austin Dillon, but it's such a technical corner. It's so easy to completely overshoot that uphill right-hander with the double right-hander there and just go wide and completely end your race. But when you hit that corner to perfection, it just feels so satisfying here as we continue down this long now back straightaway here into the next few corners. Currently running in this 18th position, Matt DiBenedetto sailed one up the inside of us into the right rear quarter panel, and he's going to go around here now as he saves it, but hold on, he's going to correct it again. Alfredo runs into the back of him. He goes head on into the concrete barrier. No caution is going to come out here. Relaxed cautions is what we run at the road courses, but already a bit of a run-in with Matt DiBenedetto there in that number 21. Austin Dillon out my inside here on lap 2. You can see some damage there on the front bumper of that number 3. We would actually stay ahead, and then we actually take it 3 wide with Chris Buescher as well as Kevin Harvick here now, as we are going to try and get a 2 for 1 right there, and up into P16 we go to the back now of that 96 of Ty Dillon, sorry, and unfortunately couldn't quite make a pass on him right there, so we try to run him down for the remainder of the second lap. But now trouble ahead again. Smoke coming from Alex Bowman, who's going to go spinning directly in front of us. I can't see. There we go. Thank goodness, spinning off the road course there, and actually again no caution's going to come out, but you saw it look like an engine failure for Alex Bowman, and then when he went into the corner, the car got out from under him, and around he went now as we came through to start this final lap of stage 1. Kyle Larson leading the way, qualified pole, dominating the first couple of laps here so far. William Byron was all over the back of me, and I'm still dealing with handling issues in this car, just like I wasn't qualifying. I'm running into the grass. This car was so bad, and that left the door wide open for that number 24 Liberty University driver of William Byron to try and sneak up my inside, but I was actually able to hold him off for the time being, but I go way too deep into the double right-hander. I said how easy it is to do that, and well, I did exactly that right there, and Byron's going to cruise on by and actually make some contact with Harvick right there. I didn't realize he was going to slip up my inside, so down to P16 here in these closing moments, but we still are at least in a position that's better than where we started in this first and opening stage, only by a few spots here. But Kyle Larson wins stage 1. We're going to cross the line point eventually here for a P16 stage effort. Not the pace in this car that I was anticipating. I said I was expecting a top 10 minimum, but right now, the way the car is driving and the speed down the straightaways, I don't know if we have a top 10 car here today in Most Sport now, but we have definitely, there's things in that third and final stage specifically to watch out for with potential cautions, and of course the restart and a green flag pit stop that could really benefit us. All three of those things that could kind of get us in position to run inside of the top 10. Alex Bowman scored one lap down, still actually in the race. Matt DiBenedetto, of course, at the back as well here, as we gain one spot on the pit lane, up to 15th place here on the left side of the racetrack. Kyle Larson is going to lead the field back to the green flag for the start of stage 2. For the start of stage 2 here in Canada, it is time to get amped. Turn it up. There you have the amp segment here from Most Sport. Now Kyle Larson continues to lead the way. We're now up to 14th place, slipping up the inside of the two-time Cup Series champion of Kyle Busch, and actually an easy pass right there on the Joe Gibbs Racing M&M's driver, up to 13th place. Then we kind of come up on this little three-wide situation here, and then Kyle Busch catches me off guard. He's going to pass me back there, roughed me up a little bit, and you know, we've seen this kind of trend so far in the road course at Mid-Ohio earlier in the season. We kind of got roughed up by some Cup Series champions, and we're kind of getting that same treatment here again today in Canada with Kyle Busch just kind of bulldozing his way through me there. So still in 14th place here now on this final lap already of stage 2, and 3 wide again here with Briscoe and Kyle Busch there. Briscoe backs out of it now up into 13th place, but on that curbing and sideways again, the car still, it just sucks. The car simply is just not good here today, and I'm just trying to, of course, make the best of the situation that we are put in here with this poor handling car now, as we're also going to get up that inside again of the 18 of Kyle Busch here into the double right-hander. This time we do pass him. Up into 12th place we go. No chance for stage points. Hamlin's too far down the road, and so is even William Byron, so we just brought the car home here on this final lap of stage 2. A 12th place effort right there. So, you know what? 2 positions gained right there or 4 positions I think we actually gained right there, just about in stage 2, but we gained 2 early on, then we kind of gained 2 later on. So now setting ourselves up in a position to fight for a top 10 effort here now is Kyle Larson, so far dominant here in Canada with a win in stage 1, a win in stage 2. Logano has been runner-up here so far throughout the day as he looks to maybe catch that number 5 off guard here in this final stage, as we unfortunately lost 2 spots there on the pit lane. So down to 14th place we are for the start of this third and final stage here in Most Sport. 9 laps remaining. Not a very long race here in Canada, of course, but obviously we make the most of it, and usually it's pretty thrilling here. So far, it was a very chaotic first and opening 2 laps, but ever since then it's been kind of calm, other than the, of course, added in chaos of cars running into me and me running into some other cars, as I, speaking of running into cars, run into the back of the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. Truex back from injury there quite a few episodes ago now, and he's still trying to, of course, get himself into a comfortable position in the playoff grid, because Truex is not very safe right now in terms of the playoff situation, and obviously we are not either. And the run we've been having today so far, no stage points, doesn't really help us in this playoff situation, but if we can bring the car home in P15 or even better, it's not going to be the worst day in the world. But obviously we still, like I said, expected a top 10. Kyle Busch again 3 wide up the inside into the double right-hander. He's caught me off guard and taken advantage a couple times on myself in that same set of corners here now, as we were 3 wide with Eric Jones and the number 43 and the 17 of Chris Buescher there for that Roush Fenway Racing team. Trying to pick up a bit of a slipstream right there from Kyle Busch, but just wasn't quite getting it, unfortunately, there, as he was in a completely separate lane there, benefiting more or less the 17 of Chris Buescher. But we nonetheless continue to work our way forward, and we know we got a car that's decent. It's not the worst thing in the world. It doesn't drive good, so it's not like we have a car that can go and run the top 10 like I was expecting, but as I said, if we can just play our cards right with the potential scenarios coming here in this final stage of green flag pit stops, the potential caution, the restarts, etc., we still could get a top 10 here, but we're running out of time down to P16, and I was already at the end of this first lap coming up with ideas. What are we going to do? So my plan originally is to actually pit here before anybody else does. So basically, once I know I can make it on feel, I'm going to bring it into the pit lane as soon as possible instead of waiting to come into the pit lane. As you can see, I get into the back of the 18 of Kyle Busch, rough him up a little bit, trying to get up into 14th place, side drafting him down the straightaway, and sure enough, we are going to have the advantage here, and we would pass Kyle Busch, clear him, and move up to that 14th position here now on lap 15. I was already getting ready to make a green flag pit stop here as I was running down the number 34 of Michael McDowell. I would stay out one more lap, and I said, okay, 6 laps to go. We can pit at the conclusion of this lap right here and make it. If we fill the car up with fuel, we'd probably be about half a lap to a full lap to the good. So we cleared Michael McDowell without any issues right there. Did get him into the side of him a little bit, but now up in a P13. But like I said, we're going to come into the pit lane here. Cannot afford any issues coming into the pit lane. We got to be smooth and calm here on the pit entry here as we head down into the pits, and I completely misjudged the pit entry line, and I speed by a good 20 to 25 miles per hour, and I've just thrown everything potentially away. A good point stay. We were in the pit lane instead of about 10 seconds filling it up with fuel. We were in the pit lane for about 31 seconds. So I just completely threw potentially everything away here now as green flag pit stops would start to kick off a lap later, and I had cycled through here into only about 36, battling side by side with BJ McLeod and that number 78 Ford Mustang for 35th, but there was still another round of cars that had to come into the pit, so I was kind of expecting to come out in the maybe late mid-20s, somewhere in there, kind of the mid to high 20s, I should say here now, and that's actually pretty much exactly where we would be, P24. So we only have a few laps to go at this point, and I have realized that I have thrown everything away. We just gave up about 10 extra points at least here now as Kyle Larson is cruising to victory here in Canada at Mosport. He's just hoping, of course, that no caution comes out. We would run down Eric Almirola. I was pushing this car as hard as it could go because I know that the points that I've given up here could be the difference maker later in the season when we get to the Daytona regular season finale, if we make the playoffs or not. This is a car that is going to be in the bubble area probably all season long, and we're proving ourselves. We're trying to prove ourselves and make this playoffs so we can get a better ride next season with whatever team we can, of course, get with maybe a Hendrick Motorsports, a Trackhouse, a Penske, a JGR, etc. Stewart Haas Racing, you name it now. Up in the 23rd place though with 2 laps to go as Almirola tries to fight back, doesn't quite have enough as Larson is cruising, like we said, to victory, approaching the final lap, but the caution flies here in Canada with about a lap and a half remaining, not even for Kyle Larson, and this is our opportunity to get back into the mix here and regain the points that we gave up. We gained 4 spots because 4 drivers had come into the pit lane not confident they could make it on field. So now up in the 19th place for an overtime restart here in Mosport. We have just enough fuel to make it to the end of this race, so that's not going to be any issue here as we head down into turn 1 and go a little bit wide right there. Alex Bowman just in front of us. We're 3 wide here with, I think that's Balicki, as well as Eric Almirola as we head down into turn 2, but the car kicks out under braking, and we're going to go for a slide, and we're going to get turned here into turn 2 by the 96 of Ty Dillon. We were crashing nonetheless, no matter what happened right there, and we go around, and you thought we choked earlier when we sped into the pit lane and gave up all those points. Well, we just had the mega choke now here in our home race in Canada. An absolute embarrassment. You can see, look how bad this car was at this point here. I mean, I nearly just died there into the concrete barrier again, and I have completely thrown everything away. We were given a second chance here late in this race to rebound and make up for what we gave up, and I threw it away for a second time. Second chance, well, second throw away here as we would start this final lap. Kyle Larson, speaking of throwing things away, Kyle Larson had a horrendous restart. He went from leading into turn 1 now down to barely hanging into the top 10. He was 9th place as the final lap got underway. Tyler Reddick, Ryan Blaney, you can see on the track map, they're going back and forth, battling for the win of this thing, and look how bad my car was at this point. I mean, I'm over here running into the concrete barrier, and it was so bad. I'm just hanging on for dear life, bringing it home. Blaney back to the point here now as they head up into that double right-hander. Now Reddick actually in front there on the track map. That was what I was watching for the most part here on this final lap, but Ryan Blaney looks like now he is clear of Reddick, and as he heads down the straightaway, there's not going to be really any chance chance for Reddick to beat him now, so it looks like it's all Ryan Blaney. To the back here of William Byron as well as Bubba Wallace through this double right-hander for the final time. They're going to go 3 wide, but unfortunately I couldn't quite cross under the 24. I instead ran directly into the back of the 24 just due to that checkup now down this long straightaway for the final time. Ryan Blaney cruising through the final couple of corners. It's going to be a victory for him here today in Canada. He is going to be locked into the playoffs easily now as we head through this final sweeping right-hander into the penultimate quarter. Here we go up the inside, just about Bubba Wallace now, trying to get whatever points we can because we know these are going to be very difference-making points here in terms of our playoff situation now as we're up the inside, 3 wide briefly right there with Bubba Wallace and McDowell. Now as we exit the final turn on the inside of Davison, it's not enough. We come through to cross the line for an embarrassing 33rd place finish in a track where we expected to have one of our best runs of the season. We end up having our worst run of the season as Kyle Larson finishes, like I said, there in 9th place. Briscoe all the way up in 3rd. What a drive from Chase Briscoe, and just not the day we were looking for here, unfortunately, in Canada. We had decent speed. We should have been in the mid-teens, maybe just outside of the top 10, but unfortunately, we threw it all away, and we were given a second chance after the speeding penalty, and then, well, we threw it away again by crashing in turn 2. We just lost the car. I lost the car under braking, and I was hoping I could save it, and unfortunately, it was either I get turned by Ty Dillon or I go head-on into the concrete barrier and spin around that way. There was no way we were coming out of that moment going in the right direction, unfortunately. So I threw it all away, and you can see the playoff situation now. We are not comfortable by any means. Actually, that was Ryan Blaney's second win. I completely forgot he already had a win this season, but I mean, we're not comfortable in the playoff situation. Reddick's the first car out by 6 points, and we are only in, well, by 6 points. So it's getting a lot closer over these last few races, unfortunately. We go into the longest race of the season in the next one, the Coca-Cola 600. We hopefully will have a good run there. I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching, and have yourselves a great day.